Hi, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of Chicago Soccer Talk with Collin. I am thrilled to discuss some positive news today on the episode. I know last time was kind of up and down with some negative news, but also a little bit of good news as well. Well, this week's episode, we have some overall, it's positive news for the Chicago Red Stars and the Chicago Fire. It is going to be a episode where I'm going to talk about the Chicago Red Stars first. Then we're going to end with a little bit about some free agent moves for the Fire. And let's begin. So first, for the Chicago Red Stars, I know last week and the week before that I talked a little bit about how the Red Stars, many of their players, especially some of their stars, have left in free agent moves, joining, for example, San Diego, Kansas City. They have been leaving. Some of it is due to this is the first year where in the NWSL they now have free agency. And I know part of it too could be some of the players want fresh starts. They want to leave some of the toxic culture that has been discussed in ownership and coach, general manager that has been discussed. And the Red Stars are trying to make new waves. They are making, in my opinion, good decisions to try to get past that. They did what I advocated for, firing the coach. Oof, very bad. They've made some other good moves as well. And let's discuss first a player who left, but then a good move where they made a free agent move, which I like. So first, the Red Stars. I want to show you my Chicago Red Stars shirt. The Stars shirt. Pulled it out because it is a positive discussion, not dark and gloomy like it has been. So first, I want to congratulate one of my favorite defenders on the club. She's been in the club for a couple years. It was really nice meeting her in person as well and getting her autograph. And that is Zoe Morse. She's a good member of the Red Stars. She has signed elsewhere. So that's not that great, but I want to wish her luck. And she was a great valued member of the team. So congratulations, Zoe Morse, on getting a new contract to go to England. So Zoe Morse is taking her talents to England. She's joining Brighton in the Women's Super League. And if you're curious about have there been any other NWSL players who have moved to England? Yes. One example I can tell you is Rachel Daly, probably my favorite women's soccer player in the world. She moved to England. She is English, but she moved to England and joined Aston Villa to play for them. And that was a good move. Joined England. Now Zoe Morse is joining England as well. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's a good move. The article I found that talks a little bit about it from the BBC. They talked a little bit about how the coach, Jen Xue, said Zoe has lots of experience in one of the best leagues in the world. She's a really strong defender, good at building out from the back. We're happy to have her here. So congratulations, Zoe Morse, joining a good, solid club in England. And she's only 24, which that's surprising to me. I didn't know she was so young. But she definitely can improve, have some good experience in England. And maybe sometime in the future she can come back to the NWSL after she has gotten playing time as a starter and represents football in England. The second move the Red Stars have made, this one is good for the club itself. We made a free agent move, and this is what I've been advocating for a while. I talked a little bit about how we've been losing a lot of players, especially in the midfield. Many of our best midfielders have left, and as of last week, we only had 2 on the roster after the club lost Morgan Straw, Danny Calaprico, and much more. We had 2 left, but now we signed a new one. And this one looks good. Good, promising move, young player. And I say that all the time, like, oh, they're a young player, only 21, 22. Well, she really is a young player, and she's only been in the league 1 year, which is promising. And it kind of depends on where the club is going. Are the Red Stars trying to pick up some new pieces, rebuild, improve for the upcoming years? Or is the club trying to win now, sign a lot of good players, and then try to compete for the NWSL Championship? At the moment, my view of it is more in the middle. We've lost some great players, but we do still have some good talent on the club with Mallory Pugh, Clea Watt, maybe, and some of my players as well. So that is positive, but I want to talk about who we signed. So we signed midfielder Addie McCain. She played college ball at Texas A&M College Station. And a little bit about her. This is a quote from the head coach of the Red Stars, Chris Perticelli. He said, "Addie is a young and talented player. She has the ability to score both goals and create goals. We're looking forward to her joining our team. Last season in 2022, she played 10 matches for the Current during the regular season, starting in 3 of them. The midfielder played in 7 matches during the Challenge Cup and scored her first professional goal against Racing Louisville." And Addie said, "I am very excited by my opportunity to join the Red Stars. I have the utmost respect for Coach Perticelli and the coaching staff. I know the Red Stars organization are doing great things to build a world-class organization in the city of Chicago. I'm looking forward to this next phase of my career and playing alongside of the best players in the league." So I think that's a good move. I'm excited to see what Addie McCain can bring to the midfield. And we definitely need to bring in some new midfielders, but they could have just checked the boxes with any old midfielder. Well, she's a midfielder. We'll sign her right now. But I think this is a good move for 3 reasons. Young, she has opportunity to potentially start. 2, she can improve more on her game as a midfielder, passing creator, and depending on what her skill set is, I haven't personally seen her on TV yet or in person, but if she's more a defensive midfielder, attacking midfielder, we'll see. Definitely when she joins the club. But this is a good move too because she's going to be buried on the depth chart in Kansas City with the Current, with all the big moves they've been making, especially in the midfield. She was going to be riding the bench probably the whole year almost, except due to injuries. But it's a good move because she'll get opportunity to play big minutes. And I like that for players. And the Kansas City Current weren't going to really see what she can bring to the table if she's buried on the depth chart. Whereas here she can get some minutes, experience, and welcome to Chicago, Addie McCain. We're happy to have you here. So that concludes my Red Stars news. Player-wise, there is one last bit of news that's positive, I believe, in the management front. The Red Stars have signed, well, not really signed, is not the operative word, but promoted Michelle Lomnicki to general manager. She was the assistant general manager most recently for the Red Stars. Now she has been promoted to general manager, and this was her first move, signing Addie McCain, so we'll see what she can bring to the club in other fashions. But it's good to have a new general manager in the club, not someone who's been dealing with the tainted dog past that we've been dealing with, someone who new inside presence, and we'll see what she can bring to the club and the moves she's making and changes to the club's culture and atmosphere. Hoping for some positive outcomes on that front. Now we move to the Chicago Fire. Wave my Chicago Fire flag. I have multiple different ones that I've gotten from the different matches I've been to. They've pretty much given out a flag for every match, but I appreciate that. I like when clubs give out souvenirs, give out things for the matches, like for example, shirts, buttons, hats, flags. And I think the Fire do a great job in getting their fans really pumped up, involved, handing out giveaways before you enter the stadium. And this is one of, let's see, I had a red flag, a couple blue ones, another one I got when I took the free shuttle from the Roosevelt Green Line to Soldier Field. They gave me one as well. So I have at least 4 or 5 Chicago Fire flags, which I like. They're all different. I'll have to probably later show you what each one looks like so you can get a good read on the different flags. And for good news on the Fire, last time I know I was incensed. I was not happy about what the Fire have been doing. Some of our decision making is very poor, but this was a good move, and I am very happy. We have signed a Frenchman to the club, and I am not 100% sure, but I believe he is the first Frenchman on the roster currently. He'll be the first one joining the club, and I like this move for a couple of reasons. Because the last player we signed most recently, Marion, he is younger, less experienced. He did have some experience, but this player we're signing, he's a veteran. He's been playing a long time, and in big leagues too, not like low-level leagues where no one's ever heard of. When you say the name, what is that? No, like real legit leagues. And from what I've heard about his skill level, experience, glowing, and he's happy to come here, which that's good too. I mean, you're supposed to say that. I'm proud and happy to come to insert name here, insert league. Well, he's actually excited, he says, to come here. So that's good. And if you're wondering where, like, kind of that discussion I just did was from, that is not my personal idea. That was actually from wrestling. My friend Ben and I, we like to do that. That was from one of my favorite wrestlers in the AEW, MJF. He did that in one of his monologues, like to try to make fun of another wrestler when they were in the ring. And I've used it ever since. It's really funny. I really enjoyed it when he did it. So back to soccer. The player that the Fire have signed is Arnaud Souquet via transfer. He's arriving from Montpellier HSC Ligue 1 in France. So it's a high-level league in France, and he is coming to the Fire. Welcome, Arnaud. He's 30 years old. He's 5'9". He's an experienced defender. So automatically, when I saw that a defender was coming to the Fire, I was already happy. They already got at least a 5 out of 10 on my rating scale, because I've been talking about that for a long time, that we need to get new defensemen in now. Well, George Heights must have been watching Chicago Soccer Talk with Collin and saw the fans have been talking about where the defenseman, well, he made a move. And reason for this move is he's experienced, he's a veteran, he's a leader, he checks all his boxes. And this kind of move shows, is the club trying to improve a little bit more and sneak into the playoffs, improve for the future? Or is this a win now move where the club says, sign all the veterans, let's get to the playoffs right now? I think this one kind of balance between them. He can help mentor while he's here, some of the more younger defensemen. He can help currently with the team on defense, and he can provide some insight too because he's won in the past. So that's all positive aspects of Arnaud Souquet. A little bit about him per se is our sporting director, George Hyde, said, "We are very excited to welcome Arnaud to the club. We went to the offseason with focus on strengthening outside back position, improving our defensive in transition, and I've been talking about that both episodes so far. So he definitely made the right choice in my opinion. That's what I've been advocating for." He also says Arnaud is a very experienced player who's been playing regularly in the top 5 leagues. His addition will help immediately solidify our back line. I agree with both of those statements. His experience will come in handy, and he's also currently playing at a high level, not getting ready to retire. So he can provide skill on the field and off. And his career so far has been, he made his professional debut in 2009. He's played more than 300 matches across all competitions in the French and Belgian first and second divisions. Most notably, Arnaud played 103 matches for Montpellier since 2019 across all competitions, scoring 4 goals, 6 assists as a defender. He was born in Paris. He's had a lot of success as a young player, under 17. Also, of course, when he joined in more professional aspects as well. And he is now transferred to the Chicago Fire. If you're wondering how long he'll be a member if no moves are made, for example, signing him to a longer deal, getting him permanently, and via transfer, his contract with the club will run for the 2025 season. So he'll be here for about 2 years. So that's a good role for him, for Arnaud. We'll see what he can provide. I think it's going to be good. I'm kind of excited to see, can he fit the role of Boris Sekulic, who's gone, a veteran, experienced, a little bit younger than some of the guys who have left, so that's good as well. But we'll see what Arnaud Souquet can provide, and welcome to Chicago, Arnaud. Very excited to see you on the pitch. And also glad that a Frenchman is joining the club. I have been trying to learn French, I've been practicing, and maybe we could talk a little bit in French if somehow I can get on Chicago Soccer Talk with Collin for a few minutes to interview him, talk about a little bit of his career, and welcome to the club and Chicago. And that's probably like a dream or a pipe dream, but like funny it is for a few minutes to talk to him, but that'd be cool. But that's good news. So that is all I have for this week in terms of content. I'll keep you updated with any breaking news, any updates either on the Red Stars, are they staying in Chicago, any free agent more moves, and then for the Fire, any more free agent moves or a little bit about the direction the club's going. One last thing before we close. There is, if you're interested, a Chicago Fire luncheon at one of the hotels in Chicago. And you could go to that to meet the first team if you're interested in meeting the players. That's something that has been announced. I don't know how much tickets they're selling for that, so it's probably going fast. But if you're interested, they are having players go to that. And you can meet players at this luncheon, supposedly. I always say supposedly or unsure about kind of these kind of meet and greets, because in the past, some of the meet and greets I've been to, it ended up being successful. I met the player or the offer or who I'm going to see, got an autograph. It's great meeting them. That was a success. Some meet and greets, quote, meet and greet, I've gotten there and they're like, oh, it's canceled. They're not coming. And then it's like, what a waste of my time. I don't want to mention the last one that I attempted to go to where it was a flop, a waste, fake news. It was not soccer related. It was a different sport entirely, but still highly disappointing. So I always hesitate to immediately go to these meet and greets because I don't want to go there and then they're like, oh, it's canceled. And a lot of times they never seem to say in advance that it's canceled. Like, can you send a text or email or social media message? We apologize, it's been canceled, do not go. Instead, you get there and they're like, oh, it's canceled, my man, go home. That's not the same. But, oh well. So thank you for listening to this episode of Chicago Soccer Talk with Collin. I have really enjoyed making 3 episodes so far. Getting great feedback from friends, family, fans, and see you next time on the YouTube show. If you have any more ideas for content that you want me to talk about in regards to the Red Stars or Fire, let me know. I'll greatly consider it, look at it, and enjoy the rest of your week. And don't worry, I'll break any news that comes our way. So see you next time.